the Cabinet Minister, Conservative Party Chairman, Baroness Varsi, front page of the Telegraph there, splash there. A similar choice, the Sunday Times, top Tory and expenses scandal there. Scotland on Sunday says that Labour voters, the SNP hopes, are going to be the ones who deliver independence to Scotland. They've also got an interesting little story here. With all these demonstrations against nuclear power and cuts, you can apparently get special tartans now. That's the sort of anti-cuts tartan, and there's an anti-nuclear tartan, and even a Tahrir Square tartan. Very good. The Observer and the Independent on Sunday both go for the story about the murdered children and the others massacred in Syria. There's a picture there. It's a pretty distressing picture. The Independent Sunday is a very strong front page there, I think, just talking about it, and then you turn in and you see the picture. And then a couple of other headlines. The Sunday Express, OAP's raiding children's piggy banks. That's not literally, of course, that's sort of metaphorically. And the Sun has gone for this terribly fat child, 63-stone girl. I'm sure we'll be talking about that. Amanda Platell of the Daily Mail and Sir Harry Evans, welcome. Thank you very much indeed. Where are we going to start?
Well, I think we have to start on a rather sombre note with the deaths in Syria. And it's quite interesting, isn't it, when the picture on the Observer, where they've used the pictures of these children, 32 of them under 10, some of whom have even had their throats cut. In a way, this is a more dramatic front page. It's got no picture, there's few words. Syria, the world looks the other way, will you? Inside, they've obviously got coverage, and they've run the picture. But it's one of those things, Harry, don't you find that when you were editing a newspaper, you have to make these choices as to which pictures are too graphic, which ones you really need to use to tell the story. I mean, it's very, very difficult. They're so awful.
Well, I think they've done it brilliantly, the Independent. I'm particularly impressed by the fact that they've actually put it in perspective. Here we've got Alan George has written a piece. Anybody can understand what's going on in this incomprehensible conflict. Alawites, Sunnis, Shias, murder, Kofi Annan, impotence in the international scene. And Amanda's absolutely right. This ought to be the lead everywhere. I mean, the story about the Tory cabinet minister apparently fiddling £165 a night, in the scale of the human, it's a Sunday Times scoop, actually, and everybody else has picked up on it. Yeah. It's the syndrome called the daily another newspaper.
Yeah, I mean, it is it is obviously a lesser story, and yet it is pretty astonishing that after the kind of earthquake of MPs' expenses and peers' expenses that just ripped apart the parliamentary classes, not that long ago, the thought that some people are still having problems is pretty weird.
Completely extraordinary. I mean, and as Harry says, it was the splash in the Sunday Times, and everyone else picked it up afterwards. Now, Baroness Varsi is co-chairman of the party. If she doesn't know what she's supposed to be declaring in her expenses, heaven help us all. But there's a real problem for her. I mean, I've known her for quite a while. There's not going to be many people sticking up for her. She's deeply unpopular in the party because, of course, she couldn't get a seat herself. So David Cameron wanted to have the first Muslim female in cabinet, and he was determined to have one. So he put her into the House of Lords, parachuted her in, and parachuted her into the government.
She's been quite brave, however, at some of the issues. She stood up against some of the sort of more reactionary elements in the Muslim community quite courageously.
She has done, as has Priti Patel. She's not the only Asian woman out there who's doing that, and rightly so. But I think this is it's deeply damaging to her. And again, one of Cameron's favourite little pets.
Well, it's certainly a story, and I would certainly run it. I thought the Independent had it positioned exactly right in relation to the rest. I would definitely run it, and you have more insight into the Conservative Party than I'm presently afforded. So I take what you say as being true. She probably ought to quit, actually.
Yeah.
Let's turn to, Harry, you spend most of the time in the States and so on. Let's turn to what's shaping up to be, I think, a more interesting American race, perhaps, than we were expecting at some point.
Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. There's a very good piece by Newsweek's John Avlon here who has it absolutely right. Forget who's ahead in the polling. That doesn't matter. It'll go up and down. What matters is the view of the people on the conduct of the economy. Wrong track, right track. And Obama's in some difficulty here because 30% of Americans say they're worse off than when he came in. Of course, he inherited a total mess from one of your friends, I think, George W. Bush. Inherited a surplus from Bill Clinton.
And yet there is a sort of sense of disappointment among a huge number of people who voted for Obama last time round, and the question is whether they're going to come out again.
Well, they expected too much. They gave him 3 halos, and he's just about to deserve half a halo. He's a very rash... Look, Romney, who is Romney? If you can tell me who Romney is, I can give you a pot of gold. Nobody knows who he is. What day is it? Wait a minute. It's Romney's day to be pro-Europe. Oh, no, it's Romney's day to be anti-Europe. It's so ridiculous. So Obama is a kind of cold character, cool. He's actually has, as Andrew says, I don't know whether you agree, Amanda, lost some of his hot appeal.
Yes.
But rational people are going to be hard to decide who Romney is.
It's the old thing about you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose,
exactly,
and pretty boring prose a lot of the time as well.
And the promises were too great, weren't they?
Yeah. OK,
do you want us to have a look
the
at
next, the Leveson inquiry?
What trouble Mr. Jeremy Hunt is in today? And obviously we've got Cameron turning up at Leveson on Thursday, and it's going to be very, very interesting. But you just can't pick up a paper these days without there being some story about, this is one in the Mail on Sunday, about a link between Rupert Murdoch and Jeremy Hunt and their companies. You know, it's not a huge and corrupt link, but it just doesn't go away. And there was another story in one of the papers saying that Hunt's looking to quit cabinet after the Olympics. Well, I don't think he's going to last that long.
Right.
I call the Leveson inquiry the festival of forgetfulness. You've got together the best forgetful people. What I want to know about the Leveson inquiry...
And you gave evidence there.
I gave evidence. Let me come clean here. Did I lie? That's the question. Did Harry Evans lie, or is somebody else lying around here? Is there such a thing as perjury? Do you still have a law of perjury here?
Well, you swear when you go in that
Yes,
you're going to tell the truth, the whole truth.
I swore on the Bible.
You did.
Yes.
So it really is quite amazing. As for Mr. Hunt, I mean, he's supposed to... His quasi-judicial robes are like the emperor's clothes. They don't exist. He's naked. He's nakedly naive, naked... His judgment is so appalling. I don't even know why he's still in the office.
And yet,
you can ask Mr.
it's very difficult to demonstrate a sort of negative that there was, you know, that we can see all the relationships, see all the track of the texts and so on, and yet, if he asserts, I put all of that out of my mind when I took the decision, how is anyone going to disprove that? That's the question, I think.
Well, the question is, you know, it's like the dagger in the library with some fingerprints on it. It's transparent.
Yeah.
He's apparently a very, very nice guy without an ounce of common sense.
OK.
What have we got time for? Oh, look, we must do a bit of royals, Andrew.
We certainly must write the papers.
There's a lot of the papers have got lovely Jubilee coverage, but there's a fantastic bit of good news for Charles and Camilla, because this is the first poll ever that says that he's more popular than William, and that's even with the Kate factor, and saying that the majority of people in this country would now be happy for him to become king. Who would ever have thought it?
That is actually quite a moment for them.
I'm entranced by this. You drew my attention, Amanda drew my attention to this wonderful street party somewhere.
Where is that?
No, we've got it here.
It's really fantastic because it takes me back. I can remember street parties. God,
Look at that.
I'm going to show that picture.
I can remember street parties when the coronation. I mean, you know, it's fan. And when you look at the joy of that thing, and you hear some of these moaning minis outside Nick Clegg's house saying, "Oh, the royal family, get rid of Republic." I mean, give me a break, will you? One of the interesting things about Britain is that the head of state is the Queen. I hate the American system where the head of state is the political head of government. So if you attack the head of state, you're attacking your own country all the time. No,
well, there will be a few, though, won't there? There'll be a few Republicans out there trying to rain on her parade.
There's a couple of eloquent Republican pieces in the papers today. There's one in the Mail on Sunday, Suzanne Moore, and then there's a piece, I think, in the Observer, isn't there, about you know, the Republicans are having their own anti-Jubilee parties?
Well, I don't want to, I mean, I know it's all very important, but I'm this afternoon going to be putting my bunting up all over the front of my house. So,
Yes.
you know, I'm not going to have any Republicans come near me and I'll give them short shrift.
I'll give you a hand. Just call me up.
I've got about 40 metres of it.
You're rather a grand Tory lady, I can see.
There aren't Republican colours. It's interesting, actually. What would Republican bunting look like?
Black.
Okay, all right. There you
I
go.
suggest. Well, I better not suggest.
Have we got
All right.
time? Have we got
Very
time for a
quickly,
little-
one last very quick
Isn't
one.
this the most humiliating thing
Poor
in the whole
old
world?
Engelbert.
Engelbert comes second last, and these grannies, who must be 1,000 years old each, they came second. I blame David Cameron because he's been so nasty to Europe they'll hate us.
Right,
We have to blame him for everything.
on that brisk and robust note, thank you both very much indeed for just now. And to the